mentioned bottlenecks a few times, and I think maybe calling out, like, based on your experience with product launches, what are the biggest bottlenecks that exist, and how do you think we as marketers can help alleviate them?
Yeah, I think a lot of the times when the teams are planning the launches, there's no structured process to begin with. There's no like a tiered system. Like for example, like okay, this is like a major launch. I need 2 months to plan this launch, or there's a minor launch. Maybe I just added a field to an API, so I probably need like a week. And even just having a very structured process of like what is a checklist, what's a launch checklist, what all things which needs to be done. Even having that process is very important. Before I go into the bottlenecks, I guess it may be helpful to just think about, okay, what is a go-to-market plan in the first place? What is a launch list or a launch checklist in the first place? Like typically when you're thinking about taking a product to the market, first you need to have very clear, objectives and KPIs around what you want to accomplish with this product launch. Then you need to have a clear target audience in mind, like who are you targeting and what's your ideal customer profile, and specifically what's the persona look like. So make sure you have done your research and know your user really well. And once you have done the user research, then you need to think about, okay, then how do I message the value prop of my product in a way it resonates with my users? And then also you need to think about positioning, because there's going to be so many competitors. Then how do you position your product such that it actually like stands out and clearly resonates, with the user's problems? And once you do all of this, then you need to figure out, okay, how do I price my product? How do I package the product? And then after that, you need to figure out which channels now I'm going to use to reach my target audience. And then once I have the channels, then I need to work with, designers and creative folks to figure out like, how do I, come up with assets and copies and so on, get approval from the stakeholders, from execs, from legal, from privacy, and, just make sure everyone's on the same page, train my customer support, train salespeople to talk about this feature. This is a whole go-to-market process, which a lot of the people, unfortunately, they take a shortcut. And I think companies are leaving a lot of money on the table by not going through this. So having this process and well-defined process is the number one bottleneck. First is like, you need to have a process. Then the second thing about it is like, again, this ties to the same topic, but just sending an email is not a launch. People are like, hey, I'm doing a launch. I'm going to just email like all my existing users and a bunch of like prospects. And I'm like, hey, we are live, right? That's not a launch. You need to really think about like a multi-channel approach to getting in front of your target users. And, it's basically, as we talked about, like lay out this whole plan in order to do this right. And then, there's also like a lot of the times, especially when there are no marketing teams and early stage companies, people sometimes confuse the marketing objectives. Like when I talk to people, I'm like, hey, are you like creating a new category with your product, or are you like, it's like competitive switching? Like, are you entering a crowded market? Do you know? Then those are two completely different approaches, right? So if you're creating a new category, then you wouldn't invest in SEO because people are not searching for this. You would probably, and then if you're in a very competitive one, then the best way is to just go after the customers of your competitors, maybe offer them a bunch of discounts and then target it that way. So you need to understand what your marketing objective is. So that's another huge issue. And then finally, as I said, I think there's also a big lack of awareness of the importance of the process from, I think, PMs and executives in general, where I think we need to do more to educate the other functions as towards the importance of actually having a really strong go-to-market and a product launch process in the company.